Because it's been a minute since I've last done a full manga collection tour, I wanted to make just one large video showcasing all of the manga that I own, both in English and in Japanese. I will preface this by saying I do have a small stack of manga that I'm currently trying to sell, so I'm not including those here because I don't really picture them as part of my collection. I'm trying to get rid of them. I do have a rather large collection over the summer. I did end up working a bit more than I expected to, meaning I had more money than I expected, meaning I ended up spending more money than expected. I did quite a few pre-orders, which I typically don't. So I got my hands on some series that I didn't think I'd be able to get, which was really, really exciting for me. And I'm probably going to do one more round of pre-orders, pretty much just probably for the dessert manga. I don't think there's too many that I'm looking to pre-order, but because I collect primarily in Japanese, it is a little bit trickier for me to get my hands on those brand new, just released manga. Typically, I do my manga shopping via a website called Surugaya, and while they do sometimes sell new manga, typically it's used books. And because it's used books, sometimes I have to wait up to a couple months to get my hands on, at the time, a new volume that I really want to read. So I'm very excited to have just a tiny bit more money so that I can purchase those volumes that I really want to read, because a lot of them, it's not dessert, but for example, Firefly Wedding, so popular that if I'm not constantly reading the absolute newest volume, like the day it's published, it'll get spoiled to me by the time I do get my hands on it if I go the Surugaya route. And there has been quite a bit spoiled for me in the past, I'd say, month, it's been upsetting. I really, really don't like spoilers. So now I'm trying to pick a couple series that I can say, like, no matter what, nobody will spoil this series for me. And I get my hands on them the second they come out. So there's been Firefly Wedding is one where I'm enjoying it so much that I really don't want it to be spoiled. And there's also Stomp Kick Love is another one I pre-ordered and I read the second it got here. So there's not too many. And because I do have a little bit of extra money, I'm also pre-ordering a couple series that they're having their first volume published sometime in September. And I do think there's also one in October, but I can't put my finger on which one, where I know they're going to be popular because people have been hyping them up on Twitter for the past little while. So I want to read the first volume before it gets any more spoiled for me, or anyone can get the chance. So I do have to kind of pick and choose what I do end up pre-ordering, partially due to money and partially due to, as you can tell via this video, I have a lot of books and I don't have all that much storage space. And I do really prefer reading physical books to digital books. I don't know why. I like being able to hold them in my hands and read them. And I do have a couple digital, and there's, I think, 2 series that I have both the physical and digital for. And that's just because I like physical. And if I'm going to do a reread of something, I feel a lot more inclined to read it if I'm reading a physical copy versus a digital copy. Moving on to talking about what's on the screen right now, though. Right now is one of my current favorite series that I'm reading, and it's gone now, but the title is The Worst Witch in the World. Unfortunately, there's no English, but it's only 7 volumes, and it's another case where, because I was buying it used, somehow I managed to get all the first 6 volumes in just, I think, 2 purchases, and then I waited for months and months, and I could not find volume 7, and I didn't want to read the first 6 volumes and then just not know how it ends because I can't get my hands on the final volume. Like, that's the worst. So I read the first volume, fell in love, and then I just kind of waited, and I didn't want to wait, so I read volume 2, and I knew I wanted to continue reading, so I ended up splurging with Amazon Japan, and the shipping fees are insanely painful, but I do think it was worth it because now that I have the full set, I can feel confident that I can read it all, and if there's a cliffhanger in one volume, I can just continue reading on versus having to wait, because if I have like the first 6 volumes physically, I really, really don't want to have to buy the last one digitally just to figure out what happens. If I start it physically, I want to end it physically. Same with if I start a series in English, I prefer to continue reading it in English if I can. I don't like switching either formats or language halfway if I can help it. I like some consistency in how I'm reading. Right now is another one that I don't think it has in English, unfortunately, but it's called Pizzicado's Sleeping Forest, and it's by the author of Colette Decides to Die. And this one is also one where I completed the full set super quickly, and I completed the full set before I even read it, and I'm confident that I will like it because it's created by the author of Colette Decides to Die. That author, or that mangaka, their name is Alto Yukimura, and they are one of my all-time favorite mangaka, probably my absolute favorite if I'm being honest. So I'm collecting everything they've ever written as much as I can. I have 3 series by them. One is a standalone, and then 2 are full manga series, and I have both full sets. And I am trying to get she's written a couple more standalone series, so like one-shots that I would really like to get my hands on, just I haven't been able to yet. Where I love her writing so much. I know that I'll like whatever she makes, so I just want to collect it all. I also am collecting Colette in English just because I love it so much. And while I don't love that it's omnibuses, I really don't. I like it. My hands fall asleep when I read. I do like that it's kind of following the story quickly. And in between each volume in the omnibus, so each of them are 2-in-1s. So in between volumes 1 and 2, there will be snippets of her one-shots. And while I do appreciate it, I want to own the one-shots by themselves. I don't like having them housed in just kind of in between volumes in an omnibus. It kind of feels like they're just filler, or like they're not as important as the main story, which I don't like that. I want them to be given more importance because she went to the hassle of writing them. She published them in their own book, in Japanese at least. I don't like that they're kind of hidden away in English. But this one on the screen, so volume 6 of this series right here, which is called Stomp Kick Love in English, just came out, and I just read it, and it was fantastic. And this is one where nobody can spoil it for me. Same with this one. This is Firefly Wedding. I have the first 6 volumes, so I'm waiting on the 7th, but I have the first 6. No one can spoil it for me, and I'm working really hard to keep up to date with all of them. Yakuza Fiancé is one where I think it's coming back at the end of this year. I want to say October, but don't quote me on that. So I'm trying to collect everything and get up to speed by the time the new volume comes, because I am obsessed with it. I read it all in English via the library before because I didn't realize how much I was going to like it. And then once I read it all, it's like I have to own it. I have to add it to my collection. And typically I do prefer my Japanese volumes to my English ones. That's just how it goes sometimes. So I knew I wanted to collect it in Japanese. And luckily, because I had like a full year from when I started collecting it to when I think the hiatus will be over, I was able to slowly collect it from Surukaya. This one here, The English is PTSD Radio, has 5 volumes. And if you're counting, I only have 4 volumes. And for the longest time, I thought I had the complete set. For the longest time, I was like, yeah, like another complete set, good job. And I don't. I only recently realized that there are indeed 5 volumes, maybe even 6, but I think it's 5. And I don't want to order a new one from Amazon Japan because that'll be very pricey. And it's not my favorite series. Like, I enjoy it enough to collect it, obviously, but I don't want to splurge on it. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't find it used. I've been looking for the longest time and I just can't find it. And I really, really dislike having an incomplete set when I know the series is complete. So I'm not really quite sure what to do. And on the screen is, this one is another one where it's a complete one. The title is something like I'm the Final Villainess and I'm gonna befriend the boss, something like that. Befriend the last boss. There was an anime and I loved it so much. And when I went to Japan, I saw the volume 1 at a used bookstore called Book Off. And I was like, oh, I recognize that series. Let's buy volume 1. And then I never even read it. I just knew I really liked the anime. And I bought volume 1, brought it back to my house in Japan, didn't read it, brought it back to Canada, brought it on the plane, which was a big hassle, brought it and put it in my home library here, still haven't read it. So I'm really not quite sure what's wrong with me. But here on the screen is some Hanato Yume Lala series, which is some of Hanato Yume Lala is one of my new favorites. It's a manga magazine, and I don't know what they put in their manga, but it's addictive. It's so good. If you know what a manga magazine is, it's a magazine, obviously, that's curated towards a certain demographic. So I'll say I love dessert manga. That means I love manga published in the Casey Dessert manga magazine. And Casey Dessert I think they say it's like delicious romance, and it's for younger women. I don't know what Hanato Yume Lala, I don't know what their specific demographic is because I only recently learned about them and I only recently fell in love with them. But I'm going to look it up because it's always like, it's fantastical romances, but it's not always fantastical. But they all have this certain vibe about them. And it's just like a je ne sais quoi. Like, I don't know what it is, but I love them. And here are a bunch of volume 1s. And all of these series here are series where I only own the first volume. I haven't continued them yet. And some of them it's because there is only the first volume published as of right now, or it's a one-shot. Others are, I haven't started reading the series yet, and I don't want to collect a bunch of volumes if I don't know I'm going to love the series. The Summer Hikaru Died is one where obviously I love it, so obviously I have all of the volumes that are currently out. But there is an anime, and although I am more of a manga girly, I was stoked to watch the anime. And don't come for me, but I'm not a big fan of the anime. I don't know what it is, and I understand it's like a masterpiece. Like it's very, very well made, and the voice acting is top notch, and like I understand like objectively it's very, very good, but it just, for me personally, it doesn't hold like the magic that the manga created. I don't know if that makes sense, but I was so excited to watch it, and I forced myself to watch the first 3 episodes, and just it didn't give me the same like excited feeling that the manga gives me when I read it. So I haven't watched it yet, and I'm kind of contemplating, should I wait for it all to air and then kind of try and watch it all in one go and see if I start enjoying it more? Or do I just abandon it because I didn't enjoy the first 3 episodes and just continue on with the manga? I haven't really decided yet. And Hikaru is another one where it will absolutely get spoiled for me. And I actually got very upset because there was one specific panel in the newest released chapter. And it would have only been released in Japanese, I think. But I think some scanlators posted it, whatever, on Twitter. And everybody was retweeting it because it was an exciting panel. But I read the published books. I don't read the digital chapters. So I'm always a couple chapters behind. And it's never really come back to bite me all that much. Like I've never felt like hindered by that. But when I realized that, oh, like people are a couple chapters ahead of me, and if something happens that they really like, they will all spoil it. And I say spoilers really easily, but there was one panel that everybody was posting, and I was like, what's happening? Like, I don't remember reading this. And I was very upset. And so sometimes it does happen where even if I get the newest volume, the day it's released, I'm still a couple chapters short because I don't read the chapters as they're published. I read the volumes as they're published. And I don't think I'm going to change that because I don't want to buy the chapters digitally and then also buy the volumes physically when they come out. I don't have that much money. On the screen now is one where I'm dropping it. I know it has an anime coming out. The English is In the Clear Moonlit Dusk. I don't know what it is, but it's one of those where I can't root for the female lead, and I hate myself for not being able to root for a female lead. So I just dropped it on, I think, volume 3, and I don't feel myself wanting to pick it back up. Originally, I just kind of put it on pause, but ever since putting it on pause, I haven't wanted to take it off pause. So that may be one I add to my rehoming pile, potentially. I haven't quite decided yet because Japanese editions are a little bit annoying to get my hands on. So when I do finally get my hands on them, it's really, really hard for me to part with them. Because I spent a good chunk of money to get them. I don't want to give them up easily. So I usually wait like a while to really decide okay, I don't like this, I'm getting rid of it. On the screen now is the Overprotective Demon Lord, and that one, it is finished at 3 volumes, and it is coming out in English currently. I think volume 1 was already published, and it is such a good series, and I recommend it to everybody. It's really, really fun. I was a little bit sad that it ended at volume 3. It could have gone on for at least 5 volumes, and I would have been happy. And I think the conflict that happens within the series could benefit from it being a little bit longer, but I think because it focuses more on relationships versus conflict, it's okay at 3 volumes. But I really enjoyed it, so I wanted it to be longer. Here's Freerun. I've never read it. I have volume 1, I've never read it. Snow White with the Red Hair. I read volume 1, and I'm so sorry, I hated it. I could not get into it. I love a good revenge story. I need people to be able to get their, what's coming for them. I really didn't like, slight spoilers, but our main character is kidnapped, twice in the first volume. And neither of the kidnappers, it's just kind of you're a bad guy, don't do that again. Okay, bye. There's never any repercussions. And I found it really, really frustrating. And I know the art is beautiful. And again, on Twitter, I keep seeing people posting fan art of the main couple, and I'm like, oh, that's beautiful. And I hate myself for not loving it because I really want to be a part of the fandom because all the art people make it for it is just so nice. But I can't bring myself to like it. So I think I'm going to stay away from the content of the media, and I'm just going to enjoy the art because it's pretty. And if I do that, then I can enjoy it. I'm like an outsider enjoying other people's things. And this is one of my English shelves. I really don't have all that many English manga. Most of my English manga has been gifted or thrifted. And it's not because I don't like English manga, it's just I prefer Japanese if I can. Colette is one that I love it so much. I'll collect it in every language that I can read. But yeah, if I'm going to spend money on it, typically I'll spend the money on Japanese ones. Most of the ones that I've bought new at the bookstore, so Sugar Apple and Seventh Time Noop, I bought both of those new. It was purely because I had a bad day and I wanted to buy myself something nice. So I went to the bookstore and I bought them. But no longer Heroine and Blackbird, Strobe Edge as well. I thrifted them. And they weren't even on my radar. I was out shopping and I saw them and I grabbed them and then I Googled them later. But because my collection is so big now, I can't really do that anymore. I do have to kind of look up things before I pick them up to decide, do I really want it? Should I really add it to my collection or should I leave it behind for somebody else who might enjoy it more than me? Which is hard for me because if I see something, I want to add it to my collection. I want to collect it. I want to buy now and ask questions later. But I don't have the room anymore. I just can't. This one does have an English called Kiss Him Not Me. And this is actually, I think, the first complete series that I ever collected. And I have not finished it. I'm planning on doing a reread and then finish reading soon. Hopefully this in September. Because it holds a dear place in my heart because it's my first series. I just love it. And yeah, this is my full manga collection.